What's up, YouTube? I am so excited today because yesterday I just received my first credit card in China as a foreigner. Now, it was a rough process to get, but I finally got through it, and I'm gonna teach you how to get one in this video. Just a disclaimer, if you don't have a work visa or a business visa, this video is not for you. I don't know how to apply for a credit card if you're on a tourist visa. Anyways, let's get started. So the rough process to get a credit card in China is almost similar to that to get a bank card in China if you have a work or business visa. By the way, if you don't know how to get a bank card in China to start off, you can refer to that video right there, or I'll put it down in the description below. Now for the work visa, you will need to bring the following: work contract. Preferably, if you have lived in China for 2 or more years, this would help your case a lot. So bring all the contract information for the last 2 years of how much money you make in China. You'll need to bring your work permit and your passport with your work visa, obviously. Temporary residence permit. And it's just safe to bring tax proof that you're paying taxes in China. You can simply go to the tax bureau with your passport and maybe your work visa and your work permit. Provide me the tax information for the last 2 years, and they'll provide it for you. If you don't know how to get to the tax bureau in China, I will show you how in the description below. You will need a good level of Chinese. So you can expect to be speaking in Chinese, to be reading some terms and agreements, and maybe even writing. In my case, I had to write a paragraph in Chinese to say that I agree to the terms and conditions. And lastly, you'll need to bring a Chinese phone number with your Chinese address because they're going to be sending the card to that address, and they need the phone number for one-time passwords and verification. The key here is that they want to see stability. They want to see that you have been working here for a while, you're getting a steady income, so that when you apply for the application, they can be confident that they'll get paid back when they lend you the money in a credit card. Now, if you're on a business visa, almost similar list, but you will need to bring your pay stubs for the last 2 years if you've been in the country that long, and also the tax statements. You need a Chinese address, Chinese phone number, your passport, and your temporary residence permit. A couple things to note that it helps so much if you already have a relationship with this bank and you already have a bank account open with this bank. Now, I know it seems like a lot of paperwork you need to bring, but just note that this is a generality of what you need to bring so that you can get 99% success rate here. Some banks may not require that you provide 2 years of tax statements or 2 years of a salary contract. They may just require 1 year or maybe 6 months. They may be a little bit flexible. Something I want to note that if you apply for an international bank that has branches internationally and deals with a lot of foreigners, there tends to be less red tape in the application process. But if you were doing just strictly a Chinese bank that has strictly mainland Chinese customers, expect them to have some off-the-wall requirements, like you need to be working in China for 3 years before you can apply for a credit card in our bank. It can be hit and miss, and the best way I'd suggest is that you go to the bank and ask yourself, but come prepared. Okay, so you have all the documents, so how do you get the credit card? So you go to the bank and you just talk to the bank staff and say, I want to apply for a credit card, which is 信用卡 in Chinese. They will do a pre-screening and usually ask you questions like, why do you want a credit card in China? You can simply say that you want to build your credit and you are establishing your roots in China. Me personally, I'm married to a Chinese person. I plan to live in Guangzhou for a long time. It also helps to ask if there are any annual fees. You don't want there to be any hidden fees at the end of the year and be like, whoa, what's this 1,000 RMB charge for it? And it has to be a hidden fee you didn't know about. Then they'll ask you to fill out some admin applications. So your name, your address, your job title, your salary, your phone number, your email, la 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 la. Something to note, because mainly Chinese people apply for credit cards here. Your full name, so let's say you have a middle name, may not fit on the credit card, so they may ask you to provide a condensed version of the name on the credit card. What I did is I just put my last name, my first initial, and my middle initial, and it fit on the lines, whereas like a random Chinese person may just be like Nilong. So once you fill out the admin application, there's usually terms and agreements you have to agree to. Like I mentioned before, you may need to read the terms and agreements and then sign, or you may need to write Chinese and then sign your name that you accept the agreements. Then it goes through the system and the bank staff will tell you, okay, your application is being processed. At this point, you can wait 1 to 2 weeks and you'll either get like an email a text message, or maybe even a phone call verifying that it's actually you that applied for the credit card. In my case, I just got a text and email, but I was ready to respond to a phone call to verify my identity. Then after they verified who you are, you may have to wait a couple more days and they'll say, okay, your application was rejected or approved. In my case, it was approved. Hopefully it works the same for you. And then they will ship it to the address you registered with when you first applied for the credit card. In my case, I'm usually at my job. I work an 8 to 5 job, but I put my home address. So when they called me, I wasn't at home, and this is one of those situations where if someone can't pick it up in person, they'll return it to the bank, and you don't want that. So what I told them to do is to drop it off at the delivery box downstairs. It's like an electronic delivery box. And if you don't know how to send or receive mail in China, you can refer to the link up here. I made a video about sending packages and receiving packages in China, which is very convenient. And then after you get your credit card, you're good to go. You may have to activate it online or via phone call. So now that you have a credit card, what are the benefits of having it in China? Well, one, you can start building your credit in the bank. You can use your credit card for deposits that are required for simple services like renting a car, getting a charger as provided in like every restaurant. It usually always requires a deposit. But if you use your credit card for the deposit, and as long as you return the charger, as long as you return the car in one piece, you'll get the deposit back and you're building your credit. So in my case, I got 2 different credit cards. I got a domestic one that uses UnionPay, and I got an international one that uses MasterCard, which is convenient because you can link the MasterCard one to your international PayPal, and you have a direct link between mainland China and overseas transfers. If you want to know how to directly transfer money overseas in a very easy and efficient manner, all online, you can refer to the link up here, or you can click in the description down below. Anyways, like I said, I'm excited. I finally got my credit card, and I hope you can do the same thing. Let me know in the comments down below how your experience was applying for your first credit card in China. If you want to see more tips and tricks about living in China as a foreigner, please consider subscribing and hit that like button if you found some value. Anyways, I'll see you next time.